Hey, so I did want to come and talk to you about fonts. I know that it can both be complicated and also it's something that I really want to make sure that you have the correct licensing to use, especially if it's something that you're using for your brand. You want to make sure that it's something that you've paid to use and that it's something that because you've paid to use it or you have the free rights to use it, that you can use it as you go forward. So it sets a good foundation for your brand, and it also means that you could trademark if you need to. It just gives you peace of mind to know that everything you're doing for your brand is on the up and up, and that you're not going to get like a cease and desist thing down the line or anything like that. And so one of the first places that I recommend you go is Google Fonts. This is where I pull all of the supporting fonts for my clients. I usually do something custom for their logo. And then I support everything with Google Fonts because Google Fonts work on everything. If you have custom, sometimes I'll create custom Google Docs for them. You can do Google Slides. You can download them and upload them into Canva. It's going to work on your website. Basically, this is like the best place, and these fonts are not going to break anything on you. Like, these are high quality fonts. So you can search for specific fonts. I love that you can type something to be like, hi there, this is me, and you can see how each of the fonts looks. You can search by category. So serifs are the fonts that have all of these extra little pieces. You can have a slab serif, which is going to be really flat. You can have a spur serif, which is going to have like a little like V to it. Some of these are going to be more more decorative and intense, and some of them aren't. And I find I really like serifs if you are having a problem with script fonts and legibilities. Serif fonts that have an italic, this is obviously not going to work for me because I didn't plan this in advance. Let's see, I think Noto does. Serif fonts that have an italic option for you, so fun, like this, that can be a really nice option to use instead of a script font. You're going to get some really beautiful moments like this beautiful like GNI, so that it still seems like visually appealing, but you're not going to have the legibility issues that you do with script fonts. So I would take some time exploring here. So if you have the serif font, it obviously has kind of extra pieces on the ends of your letters. Sans serif fonts are plainer, like they're more straightforward. Some of them are still considered kind of like friendlier, more human. Like this still has a little bit of those elements that the italic fonts have here. Some of them are really geometric. Some of them are condensed. So like a condensed font, like the letters just are kind of like squooshed in their space a little bit. And some of them like take up more space. So I would, again, just take some time. You can see if there's like any handwriting fonts here that may or may not appeal to you. Google Fonts, I feel like this is kind of where they fall a little bit short. I don't love their decorative or their handwritten fonts. Like it's just not my favorite place to find those. And so that's where I usually pull in a custom font. And that's where I go to Creative Market. I have an affiliate link that I will pop in the information for you as well. But I find most of my fonts here, like I pull most of them here, and they have different like categories set up already for you. So if you don't know what you're looking for and you come here, you can at least kind of like take a look at these images and be like, okay, maybe I really want hipster fonts. And that's where I want to be with my life. And so I would just put in like, this is me, I like this font. And then you can start previewing each of the individual fonts. If you want some more information about a font, just click on it. It'll show you all the information. You can change like how large it is. You can see like all the different ways, all the different letters are gonna be used. I would recommend typing in obviously whatever your business name is, and then maybe a tagline if you have it, or if you have something that you use frequently, or if your business name doesn't have your name in it and you know you're going to be using this font to like use your name, like maybe add that in. I know I've definitely run across some clients who were very upset that the font I chose was like that's not the way they wrote their H's or something. And that's entirely fine, but that's something that you should think about before you purchase a font. And so if you're purchasing a font just to use it in Canva, you're going to purchase a desktop font, and that's fine. And then you'll load it in Canva and you can use it. If it's something that you're going to be using on your website or in an app or in an e-publication, that's something that you need to know on your own that that's what you're doing. If you're working with a web designer, they should be able to tell you if they're going to be able to embed that on your website or not, and then you can kind of go ahead and choose whatever the best option is. Usually, as you're adding it to the cart, if you buy them both at the same time, usually you'll get a discount. So think about it before you commit to anything. And I usually like to pull up maybe 2 or 3 options for a client and just really recommend that they take a screenshot of this or something and print it out and put it up on their wall and just kind of give it a day or two to sit with, because it is an investment that you're making. And so just make sure that it feels good, that after 2 days you realize that, oh my gosh, the way that L looks, like it ends up looking like an H and now I hate it or something like that. So I would go ahead and do that. So again, Creative Market is a place where I've found quality fonts, and they're usually not overly expensive. Some of them can be, but I don't find them to be overly expensive, and I find them to be good quality fonts, and I really like that. So again, just spend some time looking here. My fonts also will let you do the same thing. They will let you browse by sans serif, slab serif, just plain serif, display handwritten script. Both Creative Market and my fonts have really good script options usually. Or if you're finding like that sounds funny. If you're finding like scripts are too scripty, you can also type handwritten, and that might get you a little bit further, kind of down the line. And then you can go ahead here. Something that you don't have as much control over in Creative Market is you can search for price range, you can search staff picks, file type, and then if you need the web font, the My Fonts has a little bit more as far as like what you can filter. So you can, you can search if it's supported in different languages. If there's a specific type foundry that you find you like after a while, you probably spend a lot of time here, and so that may or may not happen. You can add a min and a max for like any of that. You can search if you want it to have more or less weights or width or contrast or X height and slant, and you can search within this for like different styles. So you have a little bit more control over that. And then again, you can enter your own text. Hi, this is me. I like this font. And it'll preview that for you, and you can make it larger so you can see better. This will actually let you change the font color, so you can check readability if the font's like really light or something. I know, I feel like yellow, everybody's like, I have yellow as my brand color, and that's amazing. But then you try to like use a really light yellow on top of white and it falls apart. So you can kind of check things like that. This has standard ligatures, and you can just reset all the settings. It'll also sometimes let you buy it as part of like a family pack here. You can also buy kind of like packs of fonts. So this is a bundle sale. So you'll get this font, but then you'll also get all of the rest of these fonts as part of this bundle. And so sometimes that's a nice way to just have access to a lot of different fonts if you want some versatility. But again, like you're not going to use all of these fonts as your brand font. I feel like we should just go back and clarify. So like if you have brand fonts, you have one heading font, usually that's your script. You just want to use it minimally, and for big things. You're going to have a subheading that can be either like really bold or really light, depending on what you want to do. Like usually it's going to give you some contrast. And then you're going to have a body like font. So that's really all you need. And I personally like to keep it to just 2 fonts. So like this is the same font. It's Mr. Yves Sans. And so I just have it as a bold italic as a subhead, or just as a plain, regular, as the body copy. And so That's really all you need, and that's all you should be looking for. And if you're going to, like, this should be like your Google font basically, and this should be your custom font as far as like what we're doing here. So those are my recommendations going forward. I really hope that was helpful. I know that was a lot of information about fonts, but I hope that helps you set things up and make sure you have all the licenses and everything that you need to do to make this happen.